Welcome to the Big Blue Radio Show, coming to you on Tulsa Community College's online radio station, The Grid, and on the Creativity Channel. I'm Lee Goodson, president of Tulsa Community College.
And I'm Greg Stone, provost of TCC's Metro Campus in downtown Tulsa. Tulsa has an ever-growing arts and culture scene, and TCC's involvement in it is growing as well.
Today, we'll talk with Annina Collier, Dean of the Thomas K. McKeon Center for Creativity, about her work in the arts and about the college's role in Tulsa's artistic community on the Big Blue Radio Show.
Annina Collier, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate your coming in from down the hall where your
My
office
pleasure.
is.
Yeah. We're right here at the C4C.
I want to talk a little bit, first of all, about your background in music, because I think maybe a lot of people who work for the college or who have worked with you in the community don't know about your percussion background. You're a percussionist by training in high school. Your master's degree from Ithaca College in New York is in music as well. Right. How did you get interested in music and percussion in particular?
Well, I have to tell you, the truth is, it was so I wouldn't have to go to gym anymore. Like a lot of kids, I didn't do so well in PE classes. And at my elementary school in 5th grade, if you joined the orchestra, you didn't have to do PE. So I was like, sign me up for that. And I started out on the violin because our neighbor had a violin and it was, free. So, and Norman Public Schools, where I grew up, they have like an all-city orchestra concert. So little kids play alongside high school students. And while I was there with my little violin, I was looking over and there was a girl playing the timpani, the kettle drums. And I was just like, that looks a lot more fun than this. And so when I was in 6th grade and had the option to change over to band, I chose percussion because you get to play so many different instruments. And a lot of people aren't even quite sure what percussion means. Sometimes I get a blank stare when I say that, which is totally understandable. And so that's everything from anything in the orchestra that stands up in the back, so drums and xylophones and things like that. I did a lot of orchestral playing. I also concentrated a lot on mallet instruments. So you would put like 2 mallets in each hand and you can play piano music, guitar music, and then music composed for mallet instruments like the marimba. And then I also did steel drums and some jazz band. So it was just a really fun, broad musical experience. That's another nice thing about percussion. Every single style of music uses some sort of percussion instrument. And I got to go to Ireland and learned about their Irish drum, and it was just nice to be able to learn about other cultures too through music.
Great.
What a great side effect of trying to avoid PE.
I know, right?
Yeah, what a great run with that decision.
Maybe not the best motivation, but it turned out really well.
Sure.
So.
Before you came to the Center for Creativity, and we're so glad to have you here. You do so much for the college, and it's been such a high impact venture for the college. But before you came here, you were at the Oklahoma Arts Institute.
That's right.
And can you tell us a little bit about your experience there? And was that really your launch into an actual career in the arts, or did you always know that's what you wanted to do? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, certainly. And thank you. It's my privilege to be here at TCC. I just love it. The Oklahoma Arts Institute, it's a statewide nonprofit organization that most people may associate with the programs at Quartz Mountain. They do the summer program for high school students and the fall program for adults. And yeah, it absolutely did launch my career into a non-performing side of the arts, which I really love. I got to teach at the University of Oklahoma for a year before going to the Oklahoma Arts Institute, and I was a student of their summer program. It had a huge impact on me, just like it has had on thousands of young people. And OAI as a student really launched my interest in ethnomusicology, which is looking at music and cultures. And so it just had a huge impact on me. And when I found out that they were looking for permanent staff members, I called them up to see, how I might be able to help.
How do we get involved?
Because I wanted to help other young people have a similar experience. And it turned out that their numbers were a little low. They were hoping to beef up their recruiting, and I had the student experience, but then my undergraduate degree is in music and the humanities, and I took a lot of journalism classes, writing classes, and so they said, well, we're missing our PR director right now. Maybe you can kind of do some of that. And as a nonprofit, as you know, you end up wearing a lot of hats, and so I ended up eventually as their public relations and outreach director, and then helping with programming and everything there. You just kind of end up doing it all in a nonprofit, and so it was a very team environment, and it was a wonderful experience because the Oklahoma Arts Institute brings in artists from all across the nation, and the idea is you want a chance to study with someone you wouldn't normally get to study with. So students over the years have gotten to study with Academy Award winners, Grammy, Tony, Emmy, even a Pulitzer Prize nominee, or winner actually. So it was really just a great way to meet artists from all over the nation and even the world, and kind of really build a good network of contacts.
Well, let's talk about some of those experiences. Sure. Thank you for the great segue, by the way, because I wanted to ask about some of those specific experiences, both at the OAI and since you've been here at TCC, you and your staff have brought in some really outstanding internationally known people. What are some of your favorite experiences that you've had working with some of these artists, either here or at OAI?
I have to say, probably the most meaningful experience I've ever had happened just recently here at the Center for Creativity. We are doing an art exhibition called Please Touch the Art, which allows people of any visual ability to experience an art show. So there are works that you can touch, hear, smell, and even taste, as well as see. And so this was a collaboration between a lot of different people, and in part of that collaboration we brought in an artist named John Bramblett, who is a painter from Texas who happens to be blind. And he is completely blind, and the paintings he creates are phenomenal. You're just shocked at what he can do, and to hear him talk about his process as far as I navigate around a whole world blind. Navigating around a canvas this big is actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And so we brought him in, and he offered several workshops, including one that was attended by 36 students from the Oklahoma School for the Blind. And there was one young man who his parents had brought him from Fletcher, Oklahoma, and they had traveled a couple hours to see all of John Bramblett's events, and they ended up staying at the same hotel, got to talk to John and spend some time with them, and this young man had just recently lost his vision due to cancer. And his parents shared with me that they, prior to the losing his vision, drawing was one of his favorite things to do, but he just hadn't done it since losing his vision. Well, by the end of the workshop with John Bramblett, he was one of the students holding up his painting for the whole room to see. And he was interviewed by a Tulsa World reporter, and the reporter asked him, well, do you think you're going to keep doing art? And he said, yes, definitely. And that I just feel like that, being able to help facilitate experiences like that is what TCC is all about, and it was just a real privilege to be a part of it.
Yeah, and it's a great testament to what engagement with the art can encourage people to do that they didn't think they couldn't do.
Absolutely, and that was
otherwise.
John's whole thing. I mean, he wasn't even into art so much before he went blind, but it was part of his process of dealing with the isolation and the anger he felt after losing his vision, and it's turned his life into something better than he could have ever imagined.
That's so inspiring. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. Yeah. So our family has experienced the I Cant Workshops.
Yes.
You were gracious enough to invite my daughter to teach one on collage.
Yes.
And it was on a day that school was out, so we had a lot of school-age kids there at that particular one. But they're every Monday.
They are?
They are every Monday. And tell us about how that idea came about, and really what is the mission of the I Cant Workshops?
Sure.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and that was such a fun workshop that Shay did. And it's always nice to see young people getting to look up to someone just a little older than them. It's such a good experience for them. So I was so glad that she wanted to do that. So the I Cant Workshops the main idea is that, when we were younger, we all did all kinds of different creative things. We all danced, sang, drew. There were all kinds of outlets that we had. But as we grow older, for various reasons, most people stop doing these things. And not only do they stop doing them, they really start to feel like they can't do them. And only professionals in the arts are really capable of creating things. Well, I wanted to give people a chance to try something new, just to get out of their comfort zone, try to focus on using a different part of their brain. Maybe they're an accountant, or they work in the bursar's office, or they're I don't know, what's another profession you might see downtown?
Or someone who's even retired,
right? Oh,
and is looking for
thank you. Yes.
some new activity to pursue.
Yeah,
right.
We had one of our regents come to the blind painting project,
and that was a lot of fun.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so the goal isn't to discover some latent talent that you didn't know you had. The goal is to really just try something new, and if you succeeded in doing it, maybe what else do you think you can't do that you can? And there was a recent study by Drexel College that I just read about, that even if you're bad at it, and that was pretty much the headline, creating art for as little as 45 minutes can significantly reduce the level of the stress hormone cortisol in your system. And I was like, that's exactly the I Can't workshops. They're 45 minutes long.
Right.
If you're bad at it, so are most people that are there. It's just for the process, not the end result.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to evangelize that.
I think so too. You actually moved to Tulsa to come to work at the Center for Creativity, and you've been in this position for about 2 years. And I'm just curious, in that time, what has impressed you most about the art scene in Tulsa? As someone who was in Oklahoma City and in that area, and really was aware of the arts and culture scene statewide in your role with OAI, what is it about Tulsa that drew you here?
Tulsa is it's a fantastic community, and the support in the arts is just really second to none. And I remember actually at my job interview, one of the questions was, how would you facilitate collaboration among different entities in the Tulsa art scene? And I have a lot of ideas, but my thought was, well, do they want to collaborate? Because it doesn't always fit a mission of a nonprofit to be highly collaborative, and that's fair. But in this case, I found the Tulsa arts community to already be collaborating so much and be so open and welcome to more collaborations with each other and with TCC. And it's just been wonderful to be part of that citywide collaboration. And a lot of it has to do with, being in the Brady District, the significant investment by George Kaiser Family Foundation and many other large donors to many different organizations. That helps encourage collaboration, and it's the art scene is just so diverse and vibrant. We have one of the best ballets in the country. We have 2 symphonies. We have hundreds of different theater companies, it seems like. We have an opera. We have a great visual art scene, a great music scene, and particularly for a city of this size, the art scene is really fantastic.
What drew you to art personally? Was it
beyond not wanting to go to PE?
Beyond not wanting to go to PE. Yeah. And particularly, you made the jump from the performing arts really to supporting the visual arts. Because I would say here at the C4C, we focus more on the visual arts.
Yep.
So talk to us about what happens to you personally. You work in the business, and sometimes when you work in the business, it's hard to actually experience it.
Yeah, and
so tell us about that.
That's a really great question, because that was something I really struggled with, moving from the performing arts into more arts administration. And before I did that, I always thought that if I wasn't actually creating, I wouldn't be happy. But I actually feel more creative now than I've ever gotten to be before, because basically, I get to try to come up with fun ideas, find collaborators, and make them happen. And that is a big creative blank slate, and I just love being part of that process that then helps get other people in our building and in our college and creating. And so getting to facilitate that, to me, is just another level of creativity that I haven't gotten to experience before.
That's great.
We just have a couple of minutes left,
Yeah.
but we want to make sure that we ask you the big question that we ask all of our guests, which is, if you could go back in time and give some advice to your 18-year-old college-going, percussion-loving self, what would that advice be?
You know, this might not be the best thing to say, but honestly, I think it would be to loosen up and have a little more fun. Don't take yourself so seriously. I spent so many hours in a practice room this big by this big, and I had to. I mean, it was a dedication, and I'm so glad I did, but I would say get out of that practice room a little bit, experience a little more of college life is honestly probably what I would say.
Go take in the opera, go take in a community theater show.
Exactly.
There's lots of good stuff to do.
Just
With
like
your
this.
friends.
Be with
Absolutely.
your
Evangelize the arts,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that is all the time we have for today, but we do want to thank our guest, Annina Collier, for joining us on the show.
And thank you for being here too. Remember, you can find us every week online at The Grid, tulsacc.edu/thegrid, and on the Creativity channel. We'll see you next time.